What's good, everybody? How are y'all doing tonight? How are y'all doing this evening? I'm doing pretty good. This is A-Town Gaming. Welcome. This is A-Town, the Dissatisfied Gamer here. And today I'm just going to talk about something that a buddy of mine, Dev, the Unknown Variable, likes to talk about a lot. And it's just basically gaming practices, things like that. So I just want to address how gaming has fallen so far these last few years. I would say the last 5, 6 at least. Maybe not that far, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on. He's covered a lot of the Call of Duty bullshit practices that's going on. He's covered just all this craziness that is going on and just how I see the same things going on with just other games. So I'm not necessarily going to be talking about certain games, but I'm just going to be talking about gaming as a whole. So, how has gaming fallen, in my opinion? I think that everything just feels lazy now. I mean, it's always just sequels, nothing really new. And if it is a sequel, it's not too much improved. Now, this is probably a bad take, but I didn't think Horizon Forbidden West was that great. I look back on it, Horizon Zero Dawn, great game, very good. Overrated, though. I get a lot of flack for this opinion. I don't give a shit. Because the way I used to feel about certain games, I don't feel about that now. I have every right to feel that way. If I look back on it, I'm like, you know what? That wasn't that good. Like we all have the honeymoon stages of things. We all have different thought processes, and then as things go on, we think differently. So I just think that when a sequel comes out now, and Forbidden West was a direct sequel, so I didn't expect too much to be improved, but 5 years, and that's what we got. A lot of people enjoyed it. I couldn't get with it, though. That's another caveat onto the everything feels lazy. Is just everything. When open world games, these companies love to make. They love to do the open world shit because they don't have to do much. They can fill a gigantic world with just filler, bloated content that doesn't mean anything to anybody. And I'm getting tired of it. And a lot of people are getting tired of it. A big thing that's happened recently was Assassin's Creed going back to its roots. So it's nice to see Ubisoft listening. A lot of game companies need to do that, but again, it's not fully their fault. We're the consumer. We can just not buy the stuff. If more companies just started listening and us as a whole gaming community smartened up and we just said, you know what, we're not going to take this shit no more, then I think that it would get less lazy. And we'd start seeing more quality content. So that's just me for that. That's just me for the first point, though. So again, it goes into the not listening to us. So this is another point. The wanted remasters. Now I'm gonna come back to that because I'm gonna get on a little bit of a rant here. So the wanted remasters, and then not fixing issues like bugs or SBMM in COD. What the fuck? SBMM is the worst thing in the world. Now, for those of you who do not know what SBMM is, I've explained this before, but I'll explain it again. Basically, say that you average 20, 30 kills a game, right? If you do that once or twice, the game is going to think that you can always pull off 20 to 30 kill games. So what happens? They match you up with Jimmy down the street, who also gets 20, 30 kills a game. They match you with Johnny down the block that also averages 20, 30 kills a game. So it's basically almost like a domino effect. Like the more people that do well in a game, they say, oh, all these people need to play together. And that's what happens. And people today, they just accept it, but they don't understand that the randomness is what made it fun. You never knew what you were getting into for your next game. Like you could go into the next game, you could get your ass kicked. You could go into the next game, do really well. You could go into the next game, do very well again. Then you can go into the next game, and you know what? You don't do so hot, but you just had 2 great games. It allows you to get a learning curve of the game. Like, it's better to go into a game and do okay for 5 games straight than go into a game, do okay 2 or 3 games, and then the last games, before you're getting off, you just have a shit time, and you're not getting the hit detection, and you're not getting kills that you should have gotten. And that's because of SBMM, and that's the only thing they need to fix. and people will be back on Call of Duty. But with all the new practices that they're doing, charging for fucking audio packs and charging for different pieces of cosmetics and all this stuff, they're not going to have a fan base much longer. So now I want to go back to the point where, for not listening to us in the Wanted Remaster section where I said I would go on a rant, nobody should be supporting Call of Duty after what they did with Modern Warfare 2. What did they do with Modern Warfare 2? They released a photo, and it said Modern Warfare 2 is coming to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, right? Everybody, including me, lost their shit. Because I believe they had released Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, just COD 4, the classic, the crack that we all got addicted to. They released that with its multiplayer, the full game, campaign, multiplayer, all that stuff. They just added loot boxes to it, which a lot of people didn't like. I didn't really care. I just wanted to play COD 4. That was fine. I was willing to bypass that. So everyone's thinking that we're going to get Modern Warfare 2 full game, just like they did Call of Duty 4. They just give us the campaign. You heard me right. They just gave us the Modern Warfare 2 campaign. For those of you who are too young, I'm only 29. So for those of you who are maybe like 24 and down, Call of Duty used to be amazing top to bottom. I always refer to the Holy Trinity: Call of Duty 4, World at War, and Modern Warfare 2. Those three games right there provided so many hours of content. We were revolving around those three games constantly. Do you go from Modern Warfare 2 back to Vanguard and then back to Cold War? Do you guys do that? I mean, do you guys just revolve around three games just on the fly? Just because you feel like it, not because you have to, because a certain game runs better now? Because we had three games that we played. We said, you know what, let's play some Modern Warfare 2 tonight. You know what, let's take it back. Let's go back to Call of Duty 4, and the community was still heavy. And they all ran smooth, and there was no SBMM. Call of Duty used to have campaign, amazing. Multiplayer, amazing. World at War had zombies, so you had three fucking modes. Three fucking amazing modes in just that one game. You didn't like campaign that much, you go on multiplayer and have fun, and vice versa. If you didn't like zombies, you go to either one. You understand what I'm saying. Call of Duty 4 had a great campaign. You'd finish that, you were like, oh man, that was awesome. You go on multiplayer, you have some of the most fun you've ever had. And kids today will never know the fun that we had on Call of Duty 4. You might be able to find some old school videos of people actually like playing Call of Duty 4, like some old footage, and you're gonna listen to all the fun that we had. Modern Warfare 2 as well. Modern Warfare 2 is literally a meme now, where if you grew up in a Modern Warfare 2 lobby, you have the skin of an elephant. Back to the point, they released the Modern Warfare 2 campaign when we wanted multiplayer. And then that's what we said. We said, okay, now that we got this, can we get the multiplayer? Like, please, can we get the multiplayer? They never released the multiplayer. So, you released Call of Duty 4 in its entirety, but not Modern Warfare 2, the one that we've actually been asking to get. Like, don't get me wrong, people loved the Call of Duty 4 remaster. Everyone loved I won't say everyone loved it, but a lot of people loved it, and there was a lot of high praise for it. Business-wise, if I put on a suit and I say, well, shit, if I'm remaking these old games and people are liking them, well, I might as well keep giving them the other ones. Like, could you imagine if, after Call of Duty 4, they said, we're going to redo Modern Warfare 2, just like we did, we're not redo it, but we're going to remaster it with the multiplayer? And guess what? Since we heard your guys' complaints about loot boxes in Call of Duty 4, we're not going to have them in this one. It's going to be the same game, but slightly updated graphics, and of course, no SBMM. Could you imagine? It would have made probably some of the most money Call of Duty has ever seen in a long time, and they just didn't do it. And they could have dipped and went to World at War as well. They could have released they could have waited and just released Call of Duty 4, World at War, and Modern Warfare 2 full games, all three of them, with no loot boxes in them. And they could have put a $200 price tag on it if they wanted to, and people still would have bought it, including myself. Because the campaigns on all three of those games, fantastic. The side modes, Modern Warfare 2 has Spec Ops, and World at War has Zombies. Both awesome modes. The OG Zombies was amazing. It was fucking fantastic. And then they could have also, to justify that price tag, all the maps are included with all these games as well. The Modern Warfare remaster, you still have to pay for the maps. It's an old game. It's from 2007. And I still have to pay for the maps? Really? I believe the Halo Master Chief Collection had all the games in it, including Forge mode. And I believe it had all the maps. I don't even think it was like $60 at the time. I think they dropped like $10, $20 because it was a remaster. A wanted remaster. That one they did listen to the fans on. They're nitpicky with what they want to release as well, what they want to give us. So I'm not going to say that we never get wanted remasters. That's just simply not true. However, less often than not, that we say, and it's only a couple, and if they do it, it's only some companies like Capcom. They have been shat on for so many years before Monster Hunter World came back and revitalized them. I never shit on Capcom. I was never part of the Capcom hate, which was very unwarranted, by the way. It's just like, again, Call of Duty's been shit in the bed for years, but you guys talk shit on it, but you got it in your downloads, though. I always supported Capcom. I did not support them with Monster Hunter. I hate that fucking game, but then after Monster Hunter, what did they do? They released Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 was amazing. It could have been the other way around. I'm not going to say that, but around that time, it was Resident Evil 7 and Monster Hunter World that people were praising Capcom for. They were back to licking Capcom's boots again. And then, what did they do after the fan reception? They said, let's remake Resident Evil 2, something that fans have been clamoring for a long time. We got that. It was fantastic, amazing, broke records. Then what happened? They said, well, we remade the second one, let's remake the third one. The third one wasn't as well received, they cut out some content, but the fact is they still made it because people asked for it. What happened after that? They took years. They said, okay, 4 is coming. It's on the way. But in the meantime, we have Resident Evil 8 Village, a fantastic game. I totally ought to play that again when I get my 5. Resident Evil Village came out. Another success. Capcom just kept releasing banger after banger after banger. And then they released the Resident Evil remake. Resident Evil 4 remake. Just amazing. A company like that, they took their whole franchise and redid it to the new graphics. Resident Evil 4 didn't even need a remake. It didn't. But they did it anyway because fans asked for it. And it shouldn't take a company having to get desperate, because Capcom was desperate, because a lot of people just weren't feeling them at the time. So they're trying to do right. Companies need to do that, more of that shit, because, and again, we also have to smarten up as a community and say, we gotta stop taking this bullshit. We're not taking this lying down. Wanted remasters, it's a damn good thing when it happens, but they don't give us a lot of the shit half the time. And then with the wanted remasters, with them not listening, they just don't fix issues in games. Cyberpunk, they released it. It was totally fucking unfinished. The game was so broken. They had to give refunds with that stuff. And then Valhalla comes out, broken. Another Ubisoft game. Like, it's either they release games and they're good, or they release games and they're just unplayable. And the shit needs to stop. The next point is, why are we complacent? What happened? Like, when did we just sit down and start taking stuff? Like, we just sit down and we just sit back and take whatever these game companies do, bro. We don't even question it now. We just say, oh, well, cool. This game's out. That's just what it is. And that's the fucking quote that I see all the time, and I can't stand it. People always just say, oh, it's just what gaming is now. Is it? It's because you make it that way. If you have a town that has 20,000 people and 15,000 people speak about a problem, it's going to change. If just half the gaming community, like I always say, if we just rose up and stopped buying these bullshit games, we actually boycotted like we said we're going to, and didn't just be keyboard warriors all the fucking time, I took 7 months off gaming. If more people had done that, could you imagine if just the Call of Duty community just said, you know what, we're not playing this year, and they just didn't buy the game? They'd lose so much money, Activision. They'd have to say, okay, like, what do you guys want? We'll say we want Modern Warfare 2. Give us the multiplayer. That's all we need to do. But we just sit back and take it. We're like, oh, well, and the problem is because we have so much games to play. So if one game's bad, that doesn't matter. And the game companies know that. They know that they don't have to fucking make shit that great because there's so many other games to play. It's like, they don't play our game, so what? Millions of people already do because they don't care. And they like to say they care on forums and comments and stuff like that, but they really don't care. They just like to talk just to talk. And it's like, again, that quote, it is just what gaming is. Well, I'm glad that we didn't have that attitude with a lot of stuff, because a lot of stuff wouldn't have got changed in the world. Like, oh, it's just the way it is, so why change it? It's like, that shit needs to fucking stop, bro. We need to stop being subservient and start holding these game companies accountable. So, and then the last point is, like, we used to get mad. I remember when costume packs would come out, people would lose their shit. Like, why the fuck are we paying for costumes? This is bullshit. And this should already be in the game, which is true. DLC, disc locked content. People used to get mad at that little shit that didn't even matter. Like, that wasn't crucial to the game. That didn't change the game in any way. And people would still get mad. I wish we were still like that. With actual problems, people don't even get mad. But like a costume pack, oh, that's too far. It's just like, really, that's too far. That's the hill you're dying on. It took a costume pack to piss you off, not the game being broken, not the game not functioning, not the game crashing every 5 minutes. A costume pack, a battle pass. That's what pissed you off. It's like, same with old characters. Street Fighter V, we had to pay for characters that were in Street Fighter 2 back on the Super Nintendo. How's that right? Why would I have to pay for an old character? New characters, I fully understand. They're new. You had to create them. You had to make them from the ground up. But like, why am I playing Street Fighter and paying for Sagat when he was the sub boss in Street Fighter 2? Like, really? Why am I paying for that? And it's like old maps in Call of Duty. Like, oh, here's a classic map. You have to pay for it. Bro, we played this game like more than a decade ago. We played this map. Why are we paying for it now? So those were just my points. I got on a rant about the remaster because I knew I would, so I had to go back to that point. But what do you guys think? Has gaming fallen? I think it has, but it's starting to slowly get a foundation again. I've liked all the games that I bought this year. I only didn't like one. I did not just like it. I hated fucking Diablo 4. I still hate that game. I'll never go back to it. But everything else, I've liked. I've really liked. Dead Island 2 is my favorite game this year so far. Street Fighter 6 is a very good game. And I can't wait for AEW. Comes out in a couple days. And 2K23 was really good as well. And the Resident Evil remake, of course. So, do you guys think the same way as me? Let me know in the comments. Check out Dev the Unknown Variable. His link will be in the description. The dude is kicking ass right now. He's almost at 1,000. So I'm going to help him out. Even though he's higher than me, I don't really care. He's a Canadian boy. I gotta support him. So hit the like button if you guys like this video. Hit the subscribe if you like the video also, because you guys already know we like to keep it all the way G. This is A-Town, the Dissatisfied Gamer, signing off. Thanks, guys.